Welcome to Arsenal above all. Well, the women seem to be filling stadiums and breaking records, whilst the men seems to be breaking records and emptying stadiums. Just Arsenal being Arsenal. Got the main man Stephen with me tonight to talk about another record-breaking performance from the glorious Gunners. But before we get into all of that, let's go. Welcome to the show. I've got Stephen Osakwe. They call me Stepney. How you doing, Steve?
All good, man. All good. Come on, got the Henri smile on.
Yeah. And he's got the shirt on as well. The controversial shirt. Someone did say in the comments that we haven't lost in that shirt. So, yeah, fair play. You know, it's looking like it's going to be one of those cult classics that if we do something this season, it's going to be the one that everyone's going to want to cop and pay over the odds for, a bit like that gold kit that we had when Wiltor did the business at Old Trafford. Who knows? It might be history repeating itself. But thanks for coming on, Steve. Weren't going to do a show really. Just wanted to maybe have a breather, but just thought we had to chat about what we saw last night, what we witnessed last night. More history in the making. Thought it was going to be some real history at one point, you know, with the way that we were going on in terms of going for records in the Premier League and obviously the club record. But yeah, another 6-0 win away from home. Arsenal actually becoming not the only team, but the second team in the top flight to score 5 or more goals in successive away games. Burnley did that also in 1961. Obviously, but in the Premier League, nobody's done that before. So when you take into account, you know, Alex Ferguson's Man United, who had Howard Webb and the rest in their back pockets, and Pep with you know, the unlimited money that they have in their pockets, and the super squad that he's built, the mighty Liverpool teams of back in the day. And even the Invincibles, you think no one's been able to do that. So we've got to tip a hat to the boys in terms of what they've been doing for the last couple of weeks. It's been absolutely incredible. Steve, what you know, before we go into the goals and the performance and everything, but can you put into words what we've seen over the last couple of weeks since the resumption of the Premier League? You know, since the trip to Dubai and everything. Well, can you put into words what you've seen? Because you've seen a lot of games, obviously, in you know, as a fan and obviously working at the club, and we've seen some great players and decent teams. But what's going on at the moment? You know, is there something way beyond that you envisioned the way things will be at this stage of the season? Is this just the beginning of it, really? You know, in terms of taking off, in terms of the project. But yeah, what's going through your head at the moment, man?
First of all, we got some bang average players. All right, Saka's rubbish. Arteta out. I mean, I won't go into the scoreline, but beating the bottom team 1-0 in the second half, rubbish. You know, no world class players. Players overrated. Players over celebrating. We're massive, innit? We're just massive, and you know, people hate it, and it's okay. It's okay to hate it, you know. But we're massive. Look, Arteta and his team realised that we had just dropped. Our levels had dropped around the Christmas period when we had those poor results, and they've all come back from Dubai and they've all said it. You know, it was something that they needed to recharge the batteries. Benny Blanco came back with a tan, and he looked himself. Do you know what I mean? Before then, he was looking a bit. You sort of went, "Oh, he doesn't look right." You know, I think there was one game, maybe it might have been one of the West Ham games or the Liverpool game. You sort of went, he doesn't look all that, does he? The tan got topped up, and he come back, and since he's come back on form, and with a good tan, everybody's flying. To sum it up as best as I can, it's like a new signing, and that's the whole squad. It's just like a new signing. We've signed a new squad that's just gone. Yep, we're on it. Havertz is on it. Saka's on it. Odegaard is on it. Martinelli's on it. Gabriel Magalhaes is on it. Gabriel Jesus has been injured, but he'll come back and he'll be on it. Saliba's been on it. Kyrgios's been on it. Fantastic player, by the way. He's really shining at the moment. Blanco's been on it. Raya's been on it. Everyone's been on it. And the beginning part of our season was kind of good. Looking back on it, hindsight is a wonderful thing. At the time, it was, nervy, quiet stuff. But we didn't need to go hell for leather in all those games. And we're now in a situation where we're going, right, we can play our free-flowing football. We can express ourselves more. And we're on it. And fair play to Arteta and his team for recognising that the players needed a break and needed to get away and just recharge and just have some fun. And we're coming back and we're playing with fun. We're massive and everybody hates it. So long may it continue.
I think a lot of people, I think we may have said as well, the chances that we were creating and, we weren't putting away, we kept on doing that. We had a period of games, obviously the West Ham game and the Liverpool game in the Cup. It weren't like we were scratching for chances. We were creating multiple chances and some of the finishing and composure. So it kind of made sense that if it clicked, that we would be doing what we're doing at the moment. And that's exactly what's happened. You can't sort of say it's a fluke in terms of what we're doing. As you said, every player that's come in has done the job. I don't think there's any player who you can sort of say has been average. Jorginho again was pulling strings yesterday. I mean, if you look at the team again, obviously it's the same team as that played the last game, obviously against Newcastle. Obviously we had the 9-day break, or 9-day preparation, I should say. So there may one or two people may have said maybe Trossard comes back in. I kind of thought maybe Jorginho would get rested because of the game coming up against probably Brentford is going to be a little bit more dogged because they're going to have their low block, and so are Porto. So those next two games at home, we're going to really need him because he's able to be very creative with his passes from deep. But he started, and we saw right from the first minute. We hit the bar. Saka hit the bar, and it looked like we were just on it right from the off. Again, a continuation of what we've been doing ever since we've come back from Dubai. I've got to talk about Declan Rice first, because you probably remember that when we played Forest first game of the season, and it looked like Rice was playing in that left 8 kind of role because he was playing Partey as a right back and making him come in to the centre midfield. And there was a couple of instances where Rice kind of got into those positions on the left 8 in the box, and he didn't. I think he had a shot. He didn't catch it well. There was another opportunity he had. He wasn't decisive enough, and the chance was gone. There was one time I think we had a chance to cut the ball back. He didn't pick his man out. Yesterday, I think the first 3 goals, he's in the box. Even the chance that Saka hits the bar, it falls to Rice. Rice is like on the 6-yard line, making a run across the front. Odegaard's goal, he cuts the ball back. He should have got an assist, but it wasn't an assist because he apparently got a touch, so he wasn't credited to him. The goal, the second goal, the own goal, it comes off Bogle, but who's behind Bogle in case it goes to him? Declan Rice is there at the far post. Do you know what I mean? It's like he was just immense yesterday, and making that position his own, really. Real powerful running, getting into those dangerous positions. It kind of makes the mouth water a little bit if you've got him doing that, and then you've got obviously what you call, I don't know what you want to call the international man of mystery, the guy that's who we haven't seen for 4 months, Thomas Partey. He comes in and has a bit of a run out. Does his usual, loses the ball a couple of times, straightforward pass on, he messes it up. But he's been out 4 months, he's rusty. But if Rice is playing like that in that position, I mean, what does it say if what we can achieve if we keep these guys fit, Steve? Especially with him slotting back into that position and having the option of Jorginho or Partey in that sort of deeper lying role. I mean, it's we're going to need it, aren't we? Because the away games that we've got left are going to be really, really tricky, as we know. But it was great to see him back, wasn't it, Steve? After all this time.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to quickly just flip back a bit, just for a quick couple of seconds. I've not given him credit. We've talked about how well the team's done this second half of the season. I don't think we've talked enough about the tactical changes that Arteta has done compared to last season. And I think in the early games this season, it was evident that he was experimenting and trying to get things how he wanted it. So it took time for the players to adjust to that, which is why we're reaping the benefits, as you say, consistency. And the reason why I had my Henry smile on is because I thought you might mention something like that. And Henry talks about it on Monday Night Football. And it's just that consistency. He practiced something over and over and over again. We've heard the famous back four talk about it as well, or the back five, sorry. And they've gone, George Graham would say, we're doing it over and over and over again. They'd be sick of it at some times. You'd be like, I can't be bothered to do this. Because when it gets to those game moments, you've gone through it 100,000 times, and exactly what to do. It's instinct. So we were adjusting to see Declan Rice in that left eight, how Xhaka was doing it last year. He was immense. He's different. He's different gravy, Mike. He really is. He can play both positions well. He scores in both positions. This is his best goal and assist tally in any season that he's had. 5 and 5, I think he's got. 5 goals, 5 assists. So this is his best return. And people will go, he needs to add goals. He doesn't. He just, if he chips in every now and again, fantastic. But he doesn't. Yeah. We've got other attacking weapons that will get us goals. If Partey can get back up to fitness. So this when the international break comes, we're expecting players like him and a few of the others that are returning, Vieira, Jesus, and the Halem boys, to put in some hard graft, because I think it's like a 19-day gap or something like that that they've got. So I'm expecting them to play some behind the closed doors matches and just to get up to speed, because these final 10 games, whatever it's left, are going to be, you're going to need everyone. There's not going to be a moment where your level can drop. And I think Arteta would have learned from last season that if somebody's levels are dropping ever so slightly, then they probably need to come out of the team. Right now, there's no need to make any changes. The team picks itself. But with players returning, then we'll see that. Again, like I said, Rice has got energy for everybody. That's the guy's a machine. He's a monster. He's a mentality monster. He's a midfield monster. Getting forward, even for his goal, you can see it. He wanted to get in amongst the goals, and his goal was a difficult finish still, and he put it away cleanly. I don't think we can rave about him enough. Like I said, until I know he said that's how he's always played. He knows that since he's come to us, his level has gone from, let's say, 98 to a 99.99. If you know what I mean, it's gone up more. And the stats prove that in terms of his, like I said, goals and assists. This is his most prolific season in those categories, and just his all-round energy levels. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that no one's mentioning the price tag anymore. Which is says everything. And it's funny that they don't mention, you've got Caicedo, who, everyone was kind of talking about his cost, what's it, 115 or whatever it was, and no one's mentioning that. But again, that's just because of the agenda and the narrative, obviously, because he doesn't play for Arsenal and stuff like that. But another man who, we're not mentioning the price tag anymore is Kai Havertz, who, again, got involved, got a goal, and and was just his intelligence is starting to come through, man. In terms of how he was able to move out the way of the first goal, which went to which Odegaard obviously tucked away. Yeah, I mean, I've been on here and I've said, I don't understand it. I don't get the Havertz thing. He's not a left eight. He's not a left eight, and to be, he's basically become a hybrid now, hasn't he? He's a hybrid of that. He's a false nine and he's a false left eight, if you want to call it that. But his performance yesterday again was just a continuation of what he did at Newcastle. The aggression, the pressing. He got he was the one that sort of got a foot in to get to start his move for his goal when Martinelli was sort of wrestled to the ground, and then just to finish as well was just someone who when you rolled it back just before Christmas, or just after Christmas against Liverpool, where he had a couple of opportunities and it was just so weak, just so indecisive, and you spin it on 2 months and he's just finishing like that on his left foot, just clinical. It's like you said, everyone's just on smoke at the moment. Everybody, there's not a single player that's come on and you've sort of been disappointed with, and you're kind of thinking like Trossard hasn't done anything wrong and he can't get into the side now. Jorginho's come in and been sort of absolutely outstanding. And then obviously you've got this guy as well, William Saliba. I mean, he's broken records, 169 passes yesterday, breaking Santi Cazorla's records, which I think it was 140 something. And then Sheffield United had 142 combined yesterday, and he gets 169. Literally could have been playing in his slippers and smoking jacket yesterday, and Gabriel as well. Just immense. And again, we're into that moment now of the season where we kind of, I think we kind of lost him around this time last year. It's so important, it's so vital that we manage these guys really well, but we kind of can't afford to really, he's been ever present, and it's going to be sort of dicey the next couple of weeks, because obviously this is where it kind of ramps up, where we've got 3 games. So we've got a game every 3 days. We've got obviously we've got the game against Brentford, and then we've got Porto, and then after that we have a quick turnaround. So it's we've got that break after the Porto game, which is kind of a good thing. I think it's a good thing, especially if we can maybe get Tomiyasu back. I don't think Timber's going to be back, but I think to be on the bench. I mean, just so he's there. I think it'd be great to have Tomiyasu back. So if we can go to City with just what we have at the moment and just a couple more bodies, I just think we'll be in a really, really good headspace, especially if we've got two results between then. Because I think City are not the same City as last season. There's a little bit of an edge off of them, and I think they'll give you a couple of chances. But yeah, so what's your thoughts on just Saliba, his performance again? And just Odegaard as well was just outstanding as well. Again, people said, "Oh, but it was only Sheffield United," but look at it. Liverpool beat them 2-0. Needed to get a second goal in the 90th minute. City beat them 2-1 with an injury time goal at their place. So it's okay when they would do it, but when we put someone to bed, it's like, well, it's Sheffield United, isn't it? But what's your thoughts on Saliba and the captain?
Yeah, you know what? The both of our centre backs work so well together. You've got a Rolls Royce and you've got a Bugatti. You've got one that's just pure composure, and the other one maybe not a Bugatti, maybe a G-Wagon AMG or Brabus or something like that. He's Gabriel and Saliba are an excellent partnership. They complement each other so well. And luckily I think more so for centre-backs, luckily they don't do the miles that, say, some of people like your wingers or your central midfielders will do. So they usually can last the distance, if you see what I mean. The thing that not that it's been an issue, but I think the thing that Arteta will do and continue to do with them is just say it's concentration. It's making sure that you're concentrating for the whole games. Gabriel does that fantastically. Even at the end of the first half, I think he was shouting at Kyrgios or something like that, just to say, listen, don't keep it up here. Don't drop for a moment. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, our Rolls Royce at the back, 169 passes. I mean, that's crazy stats for a defender. That's absolutely crazy. If it's your holding 8, you can understand it because he's there just to link up play and to play those short passes in around everybody. This is your centre half. You know what I mean? That's crazy. It's not right. It's not right. That's like me going, yeah, come on, lads. So we're gonna have a kick about. I'm playing centre back, but just make sure the ball comes to me all the time. The thing is, he wasn't even asking for the ball. It's just that the ball comes to him. At that first half, we were pretty much just camped in like 30 yards from their box. Gabriel and Saliba were so far forward from the halfway line. It was just, of course, they were getting involved. But 169 passes, just madness. And then our captain, to put this. He does something which is not always measurable. Okay, it's the closing down that he does. So it's the off the ball work that he does, and then even on the ball. Again, if you just watch him, because certain players do it very, very well, and they either draw players or create space or move into space. And our captain does it well. Don't get me wrong. There's sometimes when I still think I was one too many touches, but that's just because I just think he can be a bit more clinical without so many touches, if you know what I mean. I think he can do those quicker passes and take one or two less touches sometimes. But what do I know? I'm not playing at that level. He wants to make sure of his passing, and sometimes just making sure is the difference between giving the ball away and not. So, the mileage he's covering.
It's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. He's just sprinting around like a lunatic. He's trying to get people to close down and press like with 5-0 up, and he's waving. he's waving at people to follow him up, and mental stuff from him. He's got 12 goal involvements, 6 goals and 6 assists in the Premier League. Saka's got 13 goals and 8 assists to 21. Yeah, Rice, as you said, 5 and 5. Martinelli 6 and 4. Kai Havertz 7 and 3. When you think Xhaka had 7 and 7, and we're still a few games to go for Havertz. So we've got 5 players who have 10 or more goal involvements this season. So that's more than any other team in the Premier League. You've got David Raya. He's got more clean sheets than any goalkeeper in the Premier League. We've got the best goal difference. We've got the best goals for. We've got the best defense. It's almost like you just want to just you want to say stop the season, but we're still third. Don't stop the season. Just wait till Saturday night. Hopefully we do the business, and then just void it. But yeah, the numbers are insane. But yeah, it was kind of for me at 5-0 because I think Newcastle were 3-0 up against them when Newcastle beat them 8-0 early in the season. They were 3-0 up at half time, I think, and then they just went crazy second half. So the fact that it was 5-0, I was watching it with the missus and I was thinking, this we could be watching history here. This could be, our record win, or breaking our record win, which was obviously 6. Or this could be 9, or dare I say it, 10, and then it came out that obviously Saka got substituted, and then straight away I sort of said, we're you know, I think I was talking in the WhatsApp group with some of the guys saying, yeah, give them 20 minutes and then put on Partey, Jesus, and Fabio Vieira, just so they can get minutes in their legs for what's to come. But yeah, for me, once Saka got taken off, you could just see a little bit of the intent sort of ebbed away a little bit. Even though Vieira came on and looked like he was on it, he put a ball across to Martinelli, who almost scored from. But yeah, how pleasing was it to see him come back in the second half, Steve, and obviously the Jesus and Partey. But yeah, just obviously Saka. It was there was a worry that he might have got a knock, but it was because he was sick or he was feeling unwell, which kind of shows you the first half performance he put in was amazing. If he wasn't feeling well, to put in a performance like that, and obviously Martinelli had an injury, had a cut. Hopefully that isn't too bad. But what's your thoughts on those three guys coming on? And not the Highlanders, you know, all of them sitting down. We all remember what happened last time we played Sheffield United. Eddie getting a hat trick, you know, and everyone, and hopefully we thought that might have been a corner turn for him. You know, it didn't see. Obviously, it hasn't panned out that way. But what's your thoughts on those three guys not getting a look in? The other three did. Was it just purely because they needed the minutes more, or do you think it's a deeper message that, you know, when it comes down to the crunch, he's going to rely on these guys as we get hopefully deeper into the Champions League and these crunch games that are coming up?
If this is a difficult one for me, because at the time, as it was happening, I was just thinking these guys are gone. You know, they're not getting a look in. Again, hindsight is a beautiful thing, and you can look back in it and take time to reflect and go, yeah, actually, the other guys need minutes. This is a perfect opportunity for them to get 30, 45 minutes, as you know, most of them did. I still would have liked to have seen one of them come on. I didn't get the Cedric substitution, for example. I get Trossard. Trossard needs minutes. You've got to keep him ticking over. You've got to keep him, making sure that he's involved in ticking over. So I understand that one. I understand Partey coming back. I understand Vieira coming on. I understand Jesus coming on. The Cedric one for me wasn't here nor there. I don't get it. I get you wanting to take off somebody, but we were that comfortable. You could have played Ramsdale at right back, for example, and it wouldn't have made a difference. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't have made an iota of difference to the scoreline. With the second half, I was hoping that we would get the second goal. Just get a second goal. I was just going get a second goal, and that keeps that run going as well. And I think we just lacked that bit of sharpness and that bit of energy that someone like Saka and Martinelli bring. And I think Nelson does that. Nelson brings us that those bursts of energy that lift the team. But at the same time, like I said, I get it. I get why players like Vieira and stuff had to come in because they need the minutes, and that's that. What we want is not what's always best for the team long term, and that's why Arteta is the manager.
Yeah, I mean, Martinelli showed some nice flashes. There was one bit where he did his Roadrunner impressions. He was on it all game, but in the second half where he knocked it around the guy and he ran off the pitch and ran around it again. I think Bale did that once for Real Madrid. I think in the Champions League final. I think if I can't remember against Atletico, maybe. But he was getting kicked all over the place. That guy that sort of rugby tackled him to the floor, dragged him down, didn't get a yellow card for that, which I think referees, again, because it's us and, because it's, it's all right, Arsenal scored anyway. It's like, no, you still need to do your job. That's still a foul. It's still a yellow card because for a fact that the shoe was in the other foot. That's a booking for one of our guys. It was kind of, I sort of kind of predicted that those three would come on and get some minutes. Jesus looked like he wasn't anywhere near ready for me. He had a couple of good chances where he could have pulled the trigger and he was just overcompensating again. Obviously, as we mentioned, Partey looked very rusty. Vieira looked the sharper of the three out there on the right. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of filter back into it. Obviously, it depends if we can beat Brentford. convincingly, then obviously that opens the door for some more minutes for people. But I think that's going to be a bit of a tricky one because we know they're going to come and spoil. They're terrible. They've had a terrible season. But the likes of Tony and Molpe, they're going to do what they the housery stuff to try and get us on the back foot and stuff. But we should have too much for them, really. So what's your thoughts on your main man? You mentioned before, obviously Santan. Then it's not Santan Dave, Santan, but yeah. So what's your thoughts on him? Just really because again, he's doing the inversions on the right hand side. He's not doing what John Stones is doing, which is just basically just playing it anywhere. Like, you got rush goalie, but you just got a rush player where he could just go anywhere. But he's doing a lot of good stuff when he inverts as well. And I think if Arteta wanted to go that way, he could do that as well. He could pop around and stuff and add to the team. But what's your thoughts? Just I'll let you finish. On your boy Ben White, because it's a fantastic goal with his left foot. I mean, it was a stunning finish, and I'll take it away, man. What do you say about him? He's got a quote here from him as well.
We just played it so aggressive from the start, created so many chances. With the players that we've got, we put them away today. I don't score much, so it's really nice. I mean, if I'd done it in the way that he usually speaks to the media, it would have been a lot more deadpan. Look, the reason why I say he's a fantastic player is because he is. He's an honestly absolute fantastic player. He's played multiple positions, so he's played centre back, he's played right back, he's doing the inverted right back, he's played centre mid in the past. Like I said, if you stuck him up front, he'd do a job up front because he's an intelligent football player. His goal, I mean, it's good strike from outside, and with his left foot. He's all of about 70, 80 yards out. I can't wax lyrical enough about the guy. I just think he's an amazing footballer. He doesn't get all the. He does the ugly stuff really well. And the reason why I say he does it really well is because nobody ever notices it.
Yeah,
he does. He He gets the odd digs in, and he gets the odd. He winds people up, and because he's so quiet about it, it just goes so under the radar. And like I said, I watch him. I watch him just going. Like even in yesterday's game, who's our former player that plays for them? Trusty. There was an incident with Trusty, and he just sort of just not squared up to him, but he just sort of chested him out of the way, sort of thing. It was just whatever. And it's those sort of things that people miss.
Yeah, there was a bit where he sort of fouled someone, and the guy was on the floor, and instead of running back, he just stood right next to him, and he sort of just stood in his way. And the guy's looking up at him, and then Ben White's just standing there looking down at him. It's like, and the guy's like, "Why are you moving? Like, why are you standing there?" And then he decides to jog off. But so, he's probably like, he loves it, doesn't he? But he's been amazing, and obviously, Southgate, as whatever. He's not going to pick him. He's, more for him. He's a guy here that could fit into any system really, and do a job in what he wants to do, especially if he's considering playing Trent, in midfield, in the summer, but more, it's good for us. And that just means he's not going to get called up, obviously. And the only worry we've got really in terms of getting called up is maybe Ghana calling up Partey, because obviously they've got a new manager, and the new manager is going to want to pull rank and flex his muscles and get all of his, all the people that he wants. So I'm pretty sure Partey will go to their camp, and we just got to see how it goes really, because it will just be typical that he breaks down or overtrained, or they just throw him into whatever games they've got when there's no need, and then we get the blowback really, and that's how it is really. But so we've got Brentford on the Saturday night. We win that game, we go top before Man City and Liverpool face off on Sunday, Super Sunday. What's your thoughts on that, Steve? On closing, do you think there needs to be much rotation, possibly. Is it depending on obviously Martinelli? Maybe if it depends on how bad that cut is, do they strap him up, or do you put Trossard in? Maybe he scored. I think he scored the goal which put us 1-0 up last year, and then they scored that offside goal. But so what do you do? Do you keep it the same?
If we don't have to risk Martinelli, we shouldn't. If you know what I mean. I'd like to keep it the same, but if they've got any sort of doubt about it, don't risk it. There's no point. I know it's a cut to the. I think it's a cut to the foot. You can see him as he was limping off. If there's any sort of doubts about it, don't risk it. There's no point. There's literally no point. We've got adequate players that are there. We've got Trossard, we've got Nelson, and we've got Jesus that can all play that position should we need them to play that position. So no point risking it whatsoever. Otherwise, the rest of the team, like I said, picks itself. Kirill starts. The back two starts. Blanco with his tan starts. That's like two people. Jorginho starts next to Rice. Saka, hopefully he recovers from his illness. It reminds me of that Michael Jordan game. If you remember from the Last Dance, and again, I remember it from back in '96.
Sick, but flu, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you know he played on, you know, because that's a mentality. People would always go, "Oh, Saka's too nice," and blah blah blah. And you go, look, that's the persona, isn't it? That's the persona. Yeah. He is nice off the pitch because he's a nice human being. On the pitch, he's different. He's a different type of animal. When he knows how to switch it on, and when people are doubting him, he takes it personally. You know, he quotes Michael Jordan. He goes, "All right, I'll take that personally." Both him and Arteta must be on the same wavelength because he's just like, you know what? That's what they're saying about you. Okay, well, I'll go there and prove it. And I'll get some stats, you know, and that's what he did yesterday. So yeah, he as long as he's fine, he will play. And yet we can continue with Havertz up front, not a problem. And if we need to just see out the game, if we're in a position to see out the game and we need to, then we can bring on players like Partey to also sit there alongside. Again, this is how good I rate Ben White. You can stick him into that into the holding position if you wanted to, and then have somebody else play it right back, and he will still do a fantastic job because he's played that position before and he's a quality footballer. So you know what you're going to get from him if he plays that position. He will just be Ben White. So I'm not expecting any real changes, to be honest. And but like I said, if there's any risk of anything with that cut or anything like that, just don't bother. There's no point.
Because you got to look to next week as well, and it shouldn't look too far ahead. But we're going to need him definitely against Porto to break them down 100%. So yeah, fingers crossed. He comes back well. I'm sure Saka will be fine. You know, just give him a couple of bits of day nurse, night nurse, and he'll be fine. And and hopefully we can just keep it rolling, man. Because it seems like these guys have definitely got the bit between the teeth, the aggression, as Ben White said in his quotes there, but just the aggression, the way that they just was relentless. It was just a delight to see. I think I tweeted that. It was just great to see that from an Arsenal team. Just no nonsense, business like. Just long may it continue. We can just continue and roll into City with that attitude. We can definitely get a result up there. Very confident. But don't look too far ahead. Let's just look ahead to Saturday night and do the business and finish the evening top of the league and see what the other two do on Sunday. So thanks, Steve. Thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it. Great takes and great insight as usual. Obviously, I know you loved talking about your boy Ben White. We will do a Ben White special in a couple of weeks. We'll just talk about him for an hour or so, and you can just have a nice monologue on everything that makes him great, which I'm sure will be a smash hit in the views. So maybe we may not be back after the Brentford game. Obviously, we might do a quick preview of the Porto game, but we'll be back after that. Because there won't be anything to talk about for a couple of weeks because of the enforced break with Chelsea doing what they had to do in the cup. But fingers crossed we do the business. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for all the retweets and the likes and the views. Really amazing. Thank you for the followers as well on the subscriptions. I think we broke 4K, which is unreal. Thanks very much for that. Again, thanks for everyone that's been part of this, but part of the guests coming on. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you can get some more shows as the success builds. And really appreciate all the support. And thank you again, Steve. Again, we'll be back hopefully after or before the Porto game for a quick one. Maybe me and you, Steve, again. We'll see. And talk about maybe keeping the likes of Tony and Morpay quiet. That would be nice because I know that those two, I can't wait to get their teeth into Saliba and Gabriel. But I think those two are going to show those two how what levels they're at now compared to what they've been up against before. So fingers crossed. Have a great rest of the week, Steve. Everyone listening and watching, and all the stuff to say is come on, you Reds.
Remember, Giroud into the box, and they have immediately.